Hello, good morning. Welcome to a special edition of The Lost Bay, a show about indie TTRPG creators and artists. I'm M. Allen Hall, and I'm joined today by Chris Airiau to play a session of The Lost Bay in the module A Night on Rose Hill. The Lost Bay RPG is a suburban gothic TTRPG set in an alternate version of the 1990s where the mundane and magical mix. It's a game for 1 to 6 players and can be played with a GM or solo. The module we'll be playing today, A Night on Rose Hill, is designed to be played solo or 1-to-1, one GM and one player. This session is specifically designed to be played after death. So if you're in your solo game, you're in your 1-to-1 game, if your character comes across an untimely end, you're going to jump right into A Night on Rose Hill. I'll now hand it over to Chris. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Chris Airiau. I'm our game writer mostly, playing a lot of Lost Bay, Mothership, and all sorts of indie games. Really happy to be here to play this, Alan. The name Rose Hill actually has a very personal meaning for me.
Oh,
I imagine this is true in a lot of like America's suburbia, but the cemetery where I grew up was called Rose Hill.
are you kidding me?
No.
Oh, that's awesome.
And as a young person, I spent a lot of time in Rose Hill, just hanging out, And
That's awesome. That is so cool. Yeah, no, I don't even know. I don't even know where I grabbed the name. I'm pretty sure it wasn't from an actual graveyard though. So that's incredible.
That's a funny coincidence then.
It sure is. All right. So yeah. So and you are going to be playing your character from our character creation video, correct?
Mm-hmm. Right, Toru.
To set up today's game, Toru has died. Could be anything. No, we're not going to dwell, or maybe we will. We'll find out. I'm going to read a little bit of the sort of the intro, just where you are, and you will arrive in the scene, and then we'll get started. But first, we're going to check on last time during the character creation. We talked about vibes a lot. We were picking different aspects of our vibes, which is our character classes in the Lost Bay. For this, the weird, which is the magic of the Lost Bay, has allowed you to be reincarnated after death. So it is that connection to the supernatural that has brought you back. But that has also changed you. And so, first of all, you're going to be in a different body. So however you thought Toru looked, you don't look that way anymore. Throw that out. And then the other part is any powers that we talked about last time or stats, those have all changed. Okay. So specifically, similar to what we did before, for Heart and Weird, you're going to start with some base Heart and Weird, and you're going to get to reassign some points. Okay. So you start with a base of 2 Heart and 2 Weird, and you're going to be, for this particular module, you're going to distribute an additional 4 points between those 2 values. So what do you think you would want for your Heart and your Weird?
Okay. I think it feels pretty weird to be dead and come back. So
I would think so.
I think I'm going to put more into Weird than Heart. So add 1. Okay. It's 4 between the 2, you said, right?
4 between the 2. So yeah, an extra 4.
So all right. So I'm going to put 3 in Weird and 1 in Heart.
All right. So you're going to 3 and 5, which is more than the base character gen, I think. Mm-hmm. But the compensation for that is you're going to start with just 1 in each of the other stats.
Okay, right.
So you're going to have 1 force, 1 flow, and 1 focus, and you have the opportunity.
Body's a little bit stiff, right?
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah. I don't really know. I don't know what's going to happen.
You're just coming back, so you will have an opportunity to increase those during the story that we are about to tell. But they're going to start at 1, so things might be a little challenging because you were just dead. All right, all that. And let's real quick get you. You do start with powers because, like you said, it is weird. So you have 1 passive power, just like in the other vibes that we have talked about. And your passive power is called Unfeeling. When you take damage, roll 1d6. If the result is less than your current Weird, reduce the damage by 1. And the flavor text on that is, this isn't your body anyway. So, you lose a little bit. You're not too worried about it. You don't have that much of a connection to this yet. And then you are going to also get to roll for 1 active power, 1 active power, or 2 active powers, just like we did last time.
All right. All
All
right,
right, so go ahead and roll or choose. I guess we could, like we did last time, but yeah, however you want to do it.
got a 6. So endure for the first one.
Okay.
That sounds kind of similar to Toru's kind of splinter base, but I don't really know for sure right now. And the
I'll tell
second
you what they
one
mean in a second.
is commune.
Commune.
2.
Okay. So endure specifically says recover from critical damage. So critical damage is a part of the mechanics of being hurt in the Lost Bay. It probably won't. So that's when you take damage below your heart and you run out of heart and you start taking damage to force and you take that damage. You have to roll force save to try and endure. It is in the basics rules. If you make that force saves to try to not be knocked out by that damage. If you fail the force save, you have critical damage. And at that point, it says in the rule book at one point, like you can just crawl. You can do is like crawl around, like you are like
Yeah.
on death's door. So you can use your power to ignore that or bounce back from critical damage. All about being, again, you're a little zombified right now. So yeah, it's sort of in that vibe. Um, and then commune, your other power, is you can ask a dead creature one question. And so it doesn't go into details, but it's speak with dead. And
Yeah.
you can assume they're going to give you a reasonable answer.
Okay.
And that is again, that's an active power, so it's going to cost weird to use. But there we go.
All right, that's pretty cool because it feels like a bit of a mix between like a splinter and seer, and then this horrible body that can't do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm excited to see
Yeah.
where this goes.
So yeah, so it's a different thing. And so the other thing to differentiate this from most Lost Bay is there are not going to be any scars.
Okay.
So we are not going to be accumulating scars during this. It's going to as part of this vibe. That's like not what happens. That's true with the other reborn vibes as well. The other post-death, I think, is how they're listed in the book. The post-death vibes, you don't take scars. Instead, you just take additional damage when you fail your weird saves. You'll lose a heart as well. And then the final thing, specific to this character, to recover weird, you need to spend an hour lying in a fresh grave. Now, you're in a graveyard, so finding graves is not going to be an issue. The hour is going to be important because there is a timer on this adventure. We don't need to get in the details of that, but just so you know, movement between locations, because this is a point crawl adventure, is going to cost you time. And spending much time doing things might cost you some time, although mostly it's going to be the travel. Like most of the interactions at the sites aren't going to cost you points of time, essentially. But we do have a countdown because you have one night to get yourself out of the graveyard. All right.
Okay.
And I think that's probably enough for intro. Just for your sake, Chris, there's also there is a Sparks table because we will be, since this is designed to be played solo. There is an oracle with some sparks to help you if you need ideas for memories that you'll be generating during the story. All right. And I will send that over to you so you can see that.
Excellent.
All right. We are almost there. There you go. So there's some sparks, and we can get into that when it's time. All right. Are you ready?
I am ready. Yeah.
Let's do it. So we'll start with the intro. What was that? A moment ago? Or was it a lifetime? Something happened. Try to breathe. Dirt fills your mouth. Open your eyes. Darkness. Struggle. Panic. Lungs burn. Or they should. They feel different. Push. Claw. Scrape. Kick. Someone grabs your wrist. Pull. Air. Cold. Open your eyes. Not your eyes. Breathe. Wipe not your face with not your hands. The gardener smiles, turns, vanishes. Worms wriggle against not your skin. Red moon rises. Welcome to Rose Hill. You look around. You are sitting waist deep in loose earth. You see there are a dozen freshly dug graves on either side of like a stone walkway. half of them look filled. There are definitely some that are just pits from even from where you sit now. Um, what would you like to do to start?
And I guess like this person who walked off in the distance, like, do I
They
know?
clearly vanished. They turned
Oh,
around and like it's a little mist going on here.
mhm.
It is it's not super dark, like it's clearly nighttime, but there's a big old full moon.
Okay.
So you can see, and like I said, it's cooler, some mist, and he's definitely not just like it's not just like he turned a corner. He's just gone.
Yeah, just kind of looking around in disbelief, and then like I'm just gonna like try like wriggle and push myself out, like my legs out of this dirt. And I think that like looking down, I'm probably gonna realize even more so like how this is not like you know
This,
big old Toru, right?
yeah, uh, you feel pretty confident that this is not you, but you've got some. You're not 100% certain what you used to look like.
Okay,
You've got there's some definitely you're like if you're fuzzy. Memories are hard right now,
okay,
and so you don't know why you're here. You don't know what happened. You don't know how long ago something happened. Um, but I mean, it's not like you don't know what a cemetery is. Like like this is strange.
right. So it's more so like a feeling of like unfamiliarity rather than like a cognizant like this isn't me kind of
Like that's not
moment,
my
right?
mole. No,
Like
that's
yeah,
not. That's
this is like
it's not detailed. It's just like something happened. Like
yeah, this
you
feels
know something.
unusual, right? This is and
Mm-hmm.
like I guess like the worms too, probably just like trying to like pull
Oh
these
yeah.
off.
Oh,
Like
there's a lot of worms too.
yeah.
It seems like like again, it's just like this is an unusual number of worms to be
Oh,
around. This is
oh.
like I get that worms live in dirt, but like this is kind of and they're just sort of falling away. You don't find it's unpleasant the feeling of the worms, but you do. There's definitely worms.
Okay. Do I find it unpleasant by like taking them out?
But they're not like out. They just like as you pull it, they just fall off, and they just
Okay, okay.
it's not. But no, actually, like you actually don't mind them at all. And
Okay.
as a your so yeah, the gardener is your new patron, your mortal that you are linked to, and
Okay.
the gardener likes worms, so you like worms.
Okay. So this is like kind of yeah, this kind of like at odds a bit maybe and then just like oh,
It's like actually
actually,
not too
yeah.
bad.
Like I'm looking around like is there like are there like trees, grass, like like is there like kind of like nice shrubbery around this cemetery? What's the state of the place?
Sure. It is. I don't know if you would say nice, but it's you see there are some trees, and so are you gonna stand up and like take a gander?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yes, so what you as you pull yourself out, you notice so the gravestone above you. So there was a headstone there, blank, and all of these empty and not empty. All the ones that look like they're clearly these are recent graves. They're all blank. All the
Hmm.
headstone, all the markers. You don't know. You don't know why they're blank. And then looking off in the distance, you feel like you're probably near the top of a hill because the path sort of curves away both directions, but it doesn't go far before it sort of splits, branches, starts turning away. So you can't actually see. It's not like you can see a long way down this path.
Okay.
It's just you look and maybe 20 yards down, you just see there's a mausoleum there, and the path is split and gone out of sight. And it's like I don't know the name of that cemetery. It's not quite that cemetery where like everything is like on top of each other. And these pictures from like I think it was in Hellboy. They went to some cemetery and like all these like things were like it's like mountains of markers. It's not quite that, but it's
Hmm.
definitely like this is a well populated cemetery,
Right, right.
and you can see just like off into the distance in every direction from your sort of like high up ish kind of a place. You just see headstones and with the occasional taller statue or obelisk or mausoleum in the sort of fading into the mist in every direction.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of like imagining a bit like Père Lachaise, but like lost a little bit and gone a little bit wild.
Yeah,
Um, and it's kind of like looking around. Do I have any inclination of like where these different paths may lead? Is like there any?
No, you can see that there are probably a few different directions you could go from here, but there's no from where you are now. You're like you don't know which way's out. You don't know.
Right.
I mean, if I'm going to go ahead and assume or tell you that you're trying to get out. You're like,
Yeah, yeah,
I need to like get out of this place and get someplace else and sort out what's happening. No, you don't. You have no idea which way you'd have to go.
yeah. All right. I'm gonna like take a look and I think it's at the sky and like try to like figure out like which way the moon looks like it's going
Okay,
and see if we can't figure out which way is south from there. And then
sure. Yeah,
um,
you could do that.
yeah, I think that's what he's just basically just gonna look at that and then like try to like estimate south.
Okay. So yeah, the moon is it's low in the sky, but it's definitely above. It's not like it's like on the horizon. But yeah,
Okay.
you could say like, all right, so that's generally that direction, and you can just turn a little bit and like, all right, generally this is where I want to go. Sure.
Okay.
You want to head south?
Yeah.
All right. So we are going to leave this scene behind, and so so you can see the point crawl map that we have for this adventure. So you can head south and go ahead and roll a d6.
Okay. Here we go. 4.
All right, so you are going to arrive. So the paths are strange here. You start heading south, but the path that you took quickly goes left and right and branches, and you try to make turns to get yourself heading in one direction, but things curve and it's strange. And the moon's up there, and you're trying to use it to guide you, but you don't always have the option to keep going south without coming off the path, which is a
Right.
choice that you could make, but we're going to leave that for now. Going on, you like with the way the headstones like sort of like blend together into the distance. So like I think I want to stay on the path for right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
So you keep going, and eventually you do. The path sort of widens out, and you arrive at sort of a patio. And in the middle of the patio, there's a fountain. And you see in the center of the fountain, there's a handful of like cherubs, some little baby angels, like holding their urns and things and pitchers and pouring water, and the tinkling of water is nice. Um, and so that's the scene. Is again, there's always gravestones over on the edge, but the path is definitely turned into a little space here.
Okay.
And at the center of the space is this fountain.
All right. I think that like I'm probably covered totally in dirt. And Toru, not Toru, is thinking
Yeah.
of like washing up. I'm just
Okay.
trying, like, thinking, like, okay, if I'm gonna get out of here, maybe I'm gonna get a ride. And if someone sees me and I'm covered in worms and dirt, maybe. But also, Toru's not like seen himself, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I guess like first, as I come to this fountain, before I like start like washing up, is there enough light for the water to be reflective and kind of like
There
see
absolutely
myself?
is. And that's actually perfect. So as you look into the water and you see this new face, you get this flash of what your face is supposed to look like. And so you are going to now gain a memory.
Okay.
So this is one of in this particular module, one of the mechanics of how we're going to be sort of bettering your character. So now we need a memory. So um, go into that Sparks table if you need to, or
Okay.
if you have an idea of what memory would being sitting on the edge of this fountain, looking at your reflection, spark for Toru.
I think I'm gonna roll the dice just to use the mechanics you've so lovingly provided. So
I mean, if you have a memory, if that is enough of a spark, that's fine. Like
that's
if the
true.
idea of sitting on the edge of this fountain, listening to the water tinkling close by, if that's a spark, great, go for it. But if it's not enough, feel free to use any of the words in the sparks table.
I think all that's great too. And then, but combining that with 16, which is transform secret cursed.
All right.
That seems pretty great. So like in this moment, am I remembering Toru's memories or the
Yes.
body
So
before? Okay, so Toru.
no,
Okay.
this is triggering a memory for Toru.
Okay. So I think like the water is specifically something that um, is cursed, right? It's the water that like is bringing the fear for Toru. And the fact of like, again, maybe flashes of seeing people just like vomiting like water and like drowning like in open air, like these kind of flashes are coming to Toru, right? Of seeing this kind of like, and there was something that Toru saw in the desert that maybe they weren't supposed to see. And that was the secret. Kind of imagining this like another kind of fountain and trickling water and
Awesome. Definitely cursed. I love it. All right. So yeah, so that like listening to the water and seeing the water, that just like flash like hits him. Um, and so you have a memory. So with that memory, you also gain one force, flow, or focus. So you can increase one of those by one.
I think if it's supposed to be Toru's memories that are coming
Yeah.
back, like Toru was always like, a kind of splinter, right? Kind of like strong. And
Yeah.
so I'm going to add one to force.
All right. Sounds good.
I'm using the one of the character sheets to take the notes.
Nice. Yeah, I'm tracking things on the play sheet for the module.
No.
But then that's perfect. All right. So with that, you take a minute, and after the flash hits you, and you take a second to just like scope out the water. To like, this isn't the cursed water, is it? No, we're good. This is just regular. Uh, you wash your hands, you wash your face, you try to like brush off what you can. Perfect. All right. So with that, you see there are more paths leading away from this place as well. Where would you like to go next?
Okay, I think that
So we'll say north, south, east, and west. So there are three additional paths. You came in from the north
right.
to get here.
I think just kind of still following that first sort of instinct, to go south. So I just kind of feel
Okay.
like that's like towards like the waterfront or something, just kind of get
Sure.
somewhere familiar.
So go ahead and roll a d6 again.
This time +1, right?
+1. That's correct.
Okay.
So we're adding one for that memory that's been regained. That's the depth crawl. Sure, mechanic here is the more memories you get, the different locations you can find.
Okay. I rolled a 3. +1 would be 4 again.
Yeah. So you head off thinking you're heading south. And again, pathways are strange, twisting left and right, splitting, coming together. You can't tell where they're coming from. And 15, 20 minutes later, you've been looking for something, any signal that you're getting close, and the path widens out, and there's the fountain again.
It's like scratching my head. Like
You're like, and you entered from the south. Like clearly you came back down the path that you tried to leave by. And you're like, I swear that didn't. So go ahead, since you've returned to the fountain, roll a d6 for what you find.
Okay. 4.
Okay. So as you come into the thing, there's definitely something's changed. There's somebody else here. You see a woman in a white dress. The dress also covered in dirt. Is standing, leaning over looking in the water, just like you were a few minutes ago. She doesn't seem to notice you yet.
All right. I'm going to call out, right? Be like, hey.
She spins around real fast. Like, what? Hey. She steps away. Who are you?
I think we're in the same, just kind of like looking at our clothes. I imagine I couldn't really claim my clothes very well.
Probably not. Or
unless
you wanted to jump in last time. And I assumed you were just like
just hands and
rinsing
face.
the loose stuff off. Yeah. She eyes you up. She's a little suspicious, but she's like, when you did you just like wake up?
I woke up. Someone pulled me out of the dirt.
Yeah, me too.
The gardener? Does that? For some reason,
I
it's
don't
in
know.
my head that.
Uh, yeah, I mean, he kind of looked like that, I guess. I'm Blaze. Uh, I was trying to get, I was thinking I was trying to get out of here. Are you trying to get out of here?
Yeah, I just like point the way I went and I went that way, but I was here and I ended up
Well,
back here.
I came from that way. You sure?
Yeah, it's weird.
That is weird. I mean, this place is weird. Okay, sure. Well, maybe I guess I don't know. I haven't really seen very many other people. You want to like stick together? Would that be all right?
Yeah, yeah, I think that'd be good. We don't want to try. I'm gonna guess point the way that it just brought me back here. Probably not that way again.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. Because that's where I came from anyway. I don't know. You wanted, and she points the opposite north, the way you came from originally.
So it's like, oh, but I came from that way. We should go this way. It's like the
Okay.
moon.
Yeah.
The
Sure.
moon
I
is.
mean,
We follow the moon. We'll go west, right?
all right. Whatever. Sure. If you say so.
Terry's
Uh,
trying to like be like, okay, there's something that can make sense. I'm gonna try to make it make sense, even if it doesn't, right?
Perfect. Yeah. So yeah, and what I will say is, uh, as we fill in the point crawl map, if you want to travel back to a place that you have already discovered, that works.
Okay.
It's the finding a new location that is going to be a roll of the dice,
Okay.
and you may or may not. And also, as we fill out the map, uh, the role of the role of that d6 is more important than the physical connections of the map. So
Mhm.
if you are even if you're at the top and you roll the 4, you're going to go right back. You're going to show up back down at the 4,
You're like,
right?
what the
Yeah,
hell?
yeah, it's a weird place. All right, so you would like to head west. So Blaze, she's there again, white dress, like a few like something somebody would be buried in.
Okay.
Not like a wedding dress, but
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's in anyway. Um,
Does she
so
look
she
young-ish? Kind of. Actually, do I even look youngish? That's a good question
no,
too. Like,
you don't look. You're not like you didn't die of old. This body didn't die of old age.
okay.
So you're middle aged. You're definitely older than your usual Lost Bay character.
Hmm.
Um, so you can't tell. You don't have like it's not like there's no clear cause of death on your body.
Right.
Um, Maybe there was and now there isn't. You don't know. But you're definitely older. So we'll say
Okay.
middle aged.
And Blaze as well, or
Yes, yeah, yeah. So she might be in her 40s.
okay.
All right.
All right.
Um,
Ancient by Lost Bay normal
by
character
Lost Bay
standards.
standards,
Yeah.
actually, yeah. Uh, all right. So you're heading west. We'll check another box on the timer and go ahead and roll that d6.
All right. Okay, so that's 1 + 1, which is 2.
2. All right. We can do that. All right. So let me just mark that off here. All right. So again, pathways left and right and looping back, but it doesn't find itself again. And you go in a circle, but it's new always forward. And eventually, again, the path broadens out into another patio. Again, all slate with, there might be a couple benches around. So clearly, this is a place where, like a major thoroughfare of the graveyard when, if it ever made sense when it was constructed. Um, and here, at one end of this clearing, this like patio thing, you've got a single obelisk rises from sort of up on a bit of a platform, and in front of this obelisk, there's a stone sarcophagus. Um, Sort of, you can't tell if it's decorative and there's a body below or if there's a body in the thing. It's not like we're not saying like Egyptian where there's like a
Hmm.
person carved into the top.
Okay.
It's clearly a stone coffin which sits at the base of this obelisk, and there's like a big old plaque at the base of the obelisk that probably says who it is.
Yeah.
And as you walk in there, uh, you just sort of take in this in. And that just definitely draws your attention. This is probably the biggest sort of, funeral monument that you've seen since being in the graveyard.
Okay. Yeah, definitely looking at that plaque, being like, whoa, this is wild. And like it's
All right.
slate too. It feels like a walking on like the black tile almost, it's kind
Yeah. Yeah.
of.
Especially with the level of light that you've got. And so, yeah, so you go up and you start reading the inscription, and it's a big epitaph. And there's like stuff about the person's life, and names start jumping out at you, and you're going to regain a memory now.
Okay.
And it's like things are familiar here, like from the story carved into the obelisk. So it's like maybe it's somebody that was a family member that of yours, or somebody you knew from long ago, but like there's a connection here.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and roll on that spark table again.
Go for it.
D66. That's a 51 this time, which is consume authority futile. Okay. Yeah, I wonder if this is some like legendary figure of the Bay, like some sort of like maybe like company mogul, right? Some sort of mogul who's like, oh, we're gonna make the waterfront a hopping place. You'll see one of these days, like. But like, like in the 20s, which is why I'm doing the 20s voice.
Yeah, that's the voice. The
voice. the 20s mobster.
The accent there. Oh my gosh.
You'll see.
I mean, that might certainly explain why it's the biggest monument. It was a rich guy.
Yeah.
Sure.
And
I can
like
see that.
consume,
And
maybe like he like founded some sort of like snack food that's like only found in the Bay, and so it's like something that's really common to young folk, like a not like Cheetos, but like a like hot fry kind of like Funyun, sure. Like Funyun hot fries, basically, And
great. And so so Toru's reading this and he's seeing these names and he's like, I know who this guy is. And that's just like, triggering some memory of eating those things somewhere. Like you said the waterfront. So he's like on the boardwalk eating the hot fries and like looking at the bag and like, here's this stupid guy's name. This guy's been dead for 50 years at this point or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it's just like, hey, I know this. All right. So, and with that, you will also gain another stat. So force, flow, and focus.
I feel like that memory kind of like lends itself to focus a bit more.
Sure.
Right. Just kind of
like, it wasn't doing something. It was just remembering reading something. Yeah.
Yeah. And like also just like that idea of like, I feel like it's especially for Toru, like it's maybe also remembering like hanging out with Serenity, like on the docks too, like and being with friends and
sure.
It's kind of like, telling jokes and shooting the shit kind of thing. So it kind of feels more like, all right, I don't ever talk. I got to be sure I say something that actually is meaningful, So it requires a lot of focus for Toru.
I love it. Yeah, absolutely. All right. So, as you're reading, once this you get this flash and you smile because it's like, it's a pretty happy memory, even if it's the stupid fries or whatever it was. You hear a voice from sort of like around the corner of the obelisk, because you're sort of standing between the sarcophagus and the obelisk to read the plaque on the front of the obelisk, and you hear somebody say, hey, big guy.
Big guy. Am I big?
Yeah. So you are like, you're not like Toru big, but you look and there's definitely somebody smaller than you. There's a guy. He looks probably 20, sort of a skinny guy, standing at the corner of the obelisk. Blaze is still back in the center of the patio, just sort of like looking around, sort of like checking the exits from this space to see where they can, because this is clearly not the exit. So she's not too concerned about what's going on at the obelisk.
I think I'll like call out and be like, Blaze, and like I'm like, hi, like to the little guy.
So Blaze turns and she doesn't like come towards you. So she just sort of like stands there. You got her. You glance over and she's looking at you now. So she sees what's going on. And he's like, hey, I need some help with something. And so you see this guy's holding a crowbar. So this is Stan. He's like, yeah, I want to get that box open. And he's pointing at the sarcophagus.
And does he look like a normal person, or does he also look dirty
No,
and
I mean he does look a little dirty, um, but not like you or Blaze. He just
okay?
like the knees of his jeans are a little scuffed, but like he seems like a normal like kid with a crowbar in a graveyard asking you to help open the sarcophagus.
Yeah, I mean it's Toru, so he's definitely gonna be like yeah, but why? And he doesn't care. He's just gonna go like actually help, but like
All
not
right, so yeah,
be like,
so
what are you like? Why are we doing this? But
we just he's in the Stan is like, yeah, I just like I come in here sometimes and like I grab stuff that these dead people aren't using it.
yeah, this guy's
But
rich too.
I mean, look at this thing, right? But
Yeah.
I will say it's been a little weird around here. It's been a couple days, so but anyway, yeah, I think there's if I can get in this one, I'll probably try to get out of here. So go ahead and roll force to see, uh, and you're doing it with his help.
Okay. So get an
So it's just
extra.
a straight no, so it's just a straight
No,
roll. It would have
just
been
straight.
if you do it by yourself, it requires critical success. This is kind of hard, but
Right.
with his
That's right.
help, the two of you, it's a straight roll.
All right. I've got 2 dice on this bad boy. Let's see how this goes. Snake eyes.
All right, so there's not like a penalty. You're not gonna get hurt or anything, but like it does not budge. It's like
Right.
to Toru, who doesn't think too much about masonry or construction standards. Like to you, like this could just be one block of stone. Like you don't even know if this lid opens. Like are you? You're just he's and he stands like going at it, and you're like, are you sure this is a lid? It might
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
be a rock.
I'm kind of like, oh, but maybe if we got like someone to like sit on it, if we could get it in there, I don't.
Yeah, so
Like we need
Stan's just like
some.
going at it with a again, like he can't get the crowbar is like not doing anything. It's like he's trying to like get it like in a crack. Like there's barely a crack. Like
No.
this is a well made stone thing here.
It's also
And he's
been
like,
probably like 20 years or more since it's been sitting here too, right? So I'm like,
oh
oh
yeah,
wait.
nothing's happening. And so Stan is trying, and he sees you like stop as you're just like, yeah,
Yeah.
you give him one of those looks, and
Uh,
he's like, fine, I'll find something else, and he runs away around the obelisk again.
all right. Is he like? Is there like some like another like building back there, or like a little
No, just more
doorway?
graves. He just takes off into the graveyard. He's gone.
He's gone. Like okay.
Yeah,
Like
he
well,
just abandoned you.
like kind of like must have slapped the top of that slab again, being like, oh well, maybe next time. And I'm gonna call
Sure.
Blaze and be like, all right, let's
Blaze
try
like,
going that way. Just like
Blaze like,
randomly.
what were you? Were you really trying to open that?
It's like, oh, why not? You know, it might have been some nice stuff in there. It's a rich guy, you know. He invented the hot funyuns.
She has no idea about hot funyuns.
Yeah.
All right, that's fine. So you can now head away from this place.
Okay.
So on the map, you have options to go back to 4 or back to 1.
I think yeah. I remember there was like one was kind of like a nexus.
Yeah,
So I
there were
think like
several paths away from 1.
yeah. So they kind of like regain like our like directions. Go
Sure.
back, head back there with Blaze. Like, oh, we'll come back, take a look at where I came up. I think it
Okay.
could be useful.
Perfect. All right, so go ahead and so again, pathways, but it seems because you know where you're trying to get, it seems a little easier this time. You know what you're like. We're going to go back to the start. We're going to get so go ahead and roll a d6 for what you find when you return to the fresh graves.
Rolled a 3.
All right. So and so it wasn't like it was just like a crossroads. It wasn't like a big patio or anything where you got to, and your grave was down one of those crossroads, but you could see it was like like just 10 yards away. You could see that there's like all these roads coming up, paths coming out from the spot. So you come down the path and you see the row of graves where you started. Um, you do notice that the grave that you came out of is filled in again.
Okay, that's odd.
Um, and but that's it. It's just like you would definitely like erupted out of it and like pushed dirt, but it's now smoothed over, just like the other handful that were filled. There's still empty ones, full
Mhm.
ones, and yours is definitely the same as the other filled ones now.
I think like as we're kind of like looking around, I'm letting Blaze like, oh, you choose a place, like whatever looks good. And
She,
I'm
it's
just,
just she's at the nexus, like looking down the different paths, and
yeah.
maybe you can say like I went that way, and that's what took me to the fountain. So like she'll she's gonna make some try to
and
get an idea where she wants to go.
and then while she's looking, I think Toru's gonna like start looking like inside some of these
We're gonna pull some of the
graves.
dirt away. Oh,
No, the ones that are like open, like in it, like
the ones that are open. Yeah,
you
they're empty pits.
okay.
They don't. It's not like a great. Even though it is the 1990s, it's not like a great. It wasn't like dug with a backhoe. It's not
Yeah.
like perfect sides. Like these are dead. Clearly, a person or people have been digging these graves. This is
Okay.
like this was done with a shovel.
Okay. And then I'm gonna kind of like go over to maybe one that's been filled in. Like, and all of these were already kind of like flattened over.
It's they're sort of mounded up. It looks a
No.
little loose. Like
Okay.
it looks like you could get in there if you wanted to.
Yeah, I'm just gonna like try to like kind of thinking of the gardener in this moment of this hand coming down. He's just gonna try to like snake a hand like down into the dirt and just kind of like
Sure.
fish around.
Would you like to spend half an hour digging into this grave?
I don't know. Is Blaze gonna? Blaze might not put up with me, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
She doesn't mind. She gets it. Like things are happening. So yeah, so go ahead and roll a d66.
Okay. So 21.
All right. So you're sort of like, you're not trying to like completely dig up. You're just like you said, just trying to get your arms down there to try to feel something, and you do feel something. You get about elbow deep. You pull a little bit out, you push through, pull out, push through, and you feel like some like a sort of like a sturdy like leather. You feel like a leather material. And you grab it with both hands and you pull, and the torso comes with it. But so you pull out of the grave you pull the body up and you like sit the guy up, and head rolls back, and he's wearing a leather jacket with like metal studs across the shoulders that looks like it would probably fit you.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. I think
So
Toru's like, let's just take this.
yeah, so you now have a leather jacket, and that is armor 1.
Ooh.
So you have 1 point of armor now, which can soak up 1 point of damage before it's no longer works as armor. But we'll always say you're wearing the leather jacket because that's Total definitely looks better in leather.
Cool. Excellent.
All right. So yeah, so that's what you find. You spent the time and you got something out of that grave. All right. So Blaze is like, cool. Are you ready now?
It's like, yeah, just kind of like getting like the spikes all shiny, like on the shoulders, like, yeah,
It's
that's good.
perfect. All right. So you have from here there were 5 paths. You have the one goes to the fountain, the one goes to the obelisk. There are 3 others to choose from. So we'll say northeast, northwest, southeast. So northwest,
Yeah, let's
northeast,
do the
southeast,
northwest, right? Still kind of
northwest. All right.
following that idea of like go to where the moon is going.
Sure. All right, and roll the d6 plus 2 memories.
+2, that's right. That's a 5 + 2, 7.
All right, so advancing beyond the initial scenes. Okay. So
The name of this is scary.
this was it's a callback to other TTRPG ideas. So again, the path left and right and turning and branching and coming back together, and you trying your best to head in the one direction so that you know which way to go back. And after what happened, trying to leave 4 that one time, you're like, I definitely don't want to get looped back to where I started. Uh, and so what you end up at is you see instead of a patio this time, the path splits and it does sort of like a circle. And in the center of the circle is like a knoll, or a very small hill, if you will. And it's covered in grass, and there's like maybe a couple like small trees, like dogwood, something, nothing super big. And in the center is a wooden gazebo. And no, on this knoll, you do notice that there are no headstones on the knoll. It is just
Hmm.
nice grass. It's like this is where you can imagine like mourners coming in on a bright sunny day and sitting in the gazebo in the shade and like talking about the people they lost, like that sort of thing. Definitely a nice setting in the right weather. Right now with the red moon in the sky, it's not awesome, but that's there. Um, the gazebo is on top of the hill.
Why are gazebos so scary? I don't understand why. So, but Toru probably doesn't have my dread of gazebos. Just like,
Prob-
huh?
pro- Not yet, at least.
Yeah, just kind of like take a look. Is it like painted in like certain way? Is it all like white, or is it kind of like
Um,
looking like what kind
it's
of state is it in?
I'll say it is just in the setting, in the lighting that you have now. It doesn't look like decrepit. It's not like falling apart. It's probably painted like a light gray. So nothing like too flashy or anything. But it's definitely looks like it's well kept.
Okay, yeah, just gonna like be like do this thing like to Blaze and be like, um, do something like shall we dance? Like put an elbow out like to Blaze. I don't know what she does, but
Um, she she does have your hesitation, so she's gonna like wait at the edge unless you really insist. If you insist,
no,
she'll go
man.
with you.
I think it's just like putting on a show. Just like okay, I'm just like
So
maybe
you walk into
maybe
the
we can see some more around from up here. Yeah,
sure.
you
Yeah,
can say put
it's
if
a
you
little
want.
higher.
Yeah, so he's
The
gonna go
plate.
up the gazebo stairs.
Okay. All right. So yeah, so you go up. It's just like two steps. Um, and as soon as you enter the gazebo, and it's like the hexagons or octagons. I think they're usually octagons. It's not a circle. It's got and the open walls. Just go. Everything goes black. You can't see anything beyond the gazebo.
Cool, 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 cool.
Make a horror save.
All right, and that is oh
It's a
no,
focus save.
that's my focus. Oh, it's straight. I have two in
So you
focus.
actually took an extra point of focus.
Here we go. This is actually plausible, maybe.
So you might pass.
Ugh, oh, that's a 4 and a 3.
Okay, so that is a failure. So you lose one heart and gain one weird, and you have now maxed your weird at 5, but you're at 2 heart.
Okay.
All right, and then so the darkness just like you start to panic a little bit as it's sort of like even like pulsing closer and closer to you, and you start freaking out, like you're sweating. You step backwards again. Toro not really thinking about the darkness is probably behind me too.
Yeah.
Just he sees it all here because he stepped up and everything went black. He's like, no, no, no. He steps back
Yeah. Yeah.
and as soon as he gets off the gazebo, everything's fine again. Heart's racing,
Mm-hmm.
sweat pouring, but like he looks around and everything's back to normal.
Like what the? But did you just kind of like point at the thing, like yell? But did you see what?
Blaze is like looking down the other pathway that
Like,
the other
but
exit from this place. Like she knows like this is like the only way to go right now.
oh. And so you said it was like kind of closing in
Yeah,
as he was in it.
it was like imagine like if like a black sheet had been thrown over the gazebo, but it was not a sheet. It was just blackness,
Mm-hmm.
darkness, and it was like sort of like slowly pulsing towards you, closing tighter and tighter.
Kind of wondering
And
what
then
would
it
happen
passed.
if you stayed until, but no, maybe. Like, yeah, Toru's just like
It,
out of there, being like, uh, yeah,
it's just the
let's
horror
just,
save. You didn't nothing. It was
yeah. He's
just
just like, he's like,
that was it.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
I'm gonna.
like I didn't like take you out of anything. That was it. It was you made the horror save. You failed, so you would have gained a memory had you not, but had you
Okay,
passed,
right.
that's all.
He's just like, okay, yeah, yeah. Let's
There's
go
one other
towards him,
away.
I
So
guess
actually,
like
so
what time is it?
there's
I guess too, because it might be the moon's position might have changed too
so
by
you
now.
are it's 12:30 now. So the moon's getting pretty high.
Yeah,
It's not like straight up
yeah, no.
for, but it's getting towards what you know is what you guess would be an apex.
Okay.
Or Zenith. Zenith Apex. What is it for the
This is
moon? I don't
Zenith, I
know.
think. Yeah.
Okay.
Is it
Um,
Zenith or Zenith? I don't know. I'm not sure.
that's probably depends what country you're in.
Maybe.
Um, all right. More importantly, you've got three pathways out of here. The one, so it would be southeast back to one to the graves, due east or northeast.
um, South didn't work out. I was trying northeast.
All right, and go ahead and roll the d6 plus two. We'll see what you find.
Yep. And that is again a 5 plus 2.
Again, you find the paths twisting and circling and bringing you back to seven. So go ahead and roll a d6.
All right. A 4.
All right. So as you return, you come back, you're at the gazebo again. You're like, what is, and you
Yeah.
look and you see there's somebody standing in the gazebo. There's a person there. They're facing away from you. But you can see somebody with long, shoulder length brown hair. Again, wearing this person's wearing like a funeral suit. But yeah, just standing there in the gazebo, like sort of towards the far edge, looking the other way, sort of scanning the horizon, if you will.
Yeah, I think that Toru is learn their lesson. Probably not gonna go up there again. Gonna walk around the edge and just kind of like try to get their attention, like wave, like from like the bottom, right, of the knoll.
Yeah, so she'll see you and she looks startled. She says, "Hey, who are you?"
Hi, I'm Toru. Me and my friend were lost. We can't seem to. Um,
Yeah, me too. Um, we're trying to get out of here. I just
we
sort of woke up. No, sorry.
okay.
I just not wait.
Just wasn't sure if there was like.
No, there's not another one.
Okay.
I'm trying to get. Sorry, I'm trying to get out of here. I just like I don't know, woke up maybe. I don't know. There was like I was in the dirt, and then like all of a sudden I was like out of the dirt, and then I wandered over here, and I thought I might be able to see how to get out, but I don't see anything.
I guess like yeah, maybe because like the position of the moon like under the gazebo looks really dark, so it's kind of harder to see like all the dirt and stuff. Be like hey, us too.
This is this is awful. Can I stick with you? Is that okay?
Yeah. The more the oh. Also, I've just had this image of like all of a sudden of like all of these like zombies basically walking together and like leaving. Like we're just becoming a horde. But anyway, yeah. I think he'd be like, yeah. I think it'd be easier if there's more of us.
All right. And then so she's like, I'm Clara, by the way. Hi, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I was sort of, she points like she was like just in the field of graves nearby. So not like from a particular direction or anything. I was like right over there. And then now I'm here. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on. I don't like remember much.
Mm.
Um, it's just, I really don't want to be here. It's just place just feels bad.
I guess does Turu have that same kind of like feeling like coming like this
Yeah.
place is okay yeah
Yeah. Like you don't like being here.
okay yeah I'd be like yeah I think we should probably we're gonna try going back this way. Just kind of like point east. We just tried this way
Sure.
and it led back here. This place is kind of all twisted around.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, shouldn't we be able to see something? And she like front. She's still like up the hill from you. She's out of the gazebo now. She like points to any horizon, and there's like it's just like everything ends in mist. It's like why can't we see anything?
It's fog. If you're having trouble with your memory, fog is like clouds on the ground. It happens sometimes.
She's just like, yes, thank you. All right, all right. So you're gonna head east. So go ahead and roll a d6.
Okay. It is a 1 plus 2,
It's three.
3.
We got another new location. All right. So you head again paths, but you feel like you're making progress this time. And this time, as you come in, you see the middle of the path is a large mausoleum, probably the largest one you've seen. There's like two pillars on either side of the entrance. It's like a double door of metal. Above the door is the name Bracton. Um, and like the path comes to the mausoleum and then like sort of splits and goes around it. But this mausoleum is right there, and it's
Mm.
like probably almost 2 stories tall at the peak of the thing. You're like, whoa, this is look at this guy. And so yeah, so you've got that standing ahead of you as you're walking up. You're walking toward it, and it's just like looms in front of you.
It's like Toru's like, I wonder if we could get up there. That's pretty high. Be easier to climb than the obelisk.
Yeah. So I would say as you approach it, since you're coming right from the front, Toro walks up to it. The doors, they're metal, but they're like they've been polished to like mirror shine. And again, just like in the fountain, you see yourself approaching, you see yourself walking towards the doors. And that, again, the unfamiliarity of that triggers a memory of what you should have looked like approaching this thing. So you're going to get a memory
Okay.
and you get a stat point. And but go ahead and tell us what kind of memory would that trigger?
All right.
Seeing
Well,
himself walking towards this thing.
D66 rolled a 12. Control, distraction, unnatural. I think distraction kind of like makes me think of like Toru was someone who was like very much a wanderer, would like to sleep out. And so like for them, like maybe a distraction would be like staying somewhere like in sleep country. And then
Okay.
just thinking of like, like video games and like, people doing like organized sports. It's all this kind of like distraction kind of thing. And then also kind of like the bars, it makes it feel like a prison, like you're being held within this like rigidity of normality, and it kind of maybe that like shines a light on like Toru's like personality more so than like just like the physicality too, right? This idea that this is um like this kind of suburbs are like kind of like this prison and like all these kind of like institutions and conformity, so it's very much like the anti-conformist kind of
Sure.
like bubbling up inside.
Absolutely. So what stat do you think that will increase for him? Them.
I think again that's probably another force, right? Just kind of like that kind of represents that strength, right?
Absolutely. All right. I love it. So okay, so you gain your memory and you're here. What would you? There are again. There's 3 pathways away from here. As you know, Chris, that one goes back to 7, which is the gazebo. One goes back to 1, the starting point, the fresh graves, and then 1 goes to the top point of the map, which you can still get to. Right? You rolled the 7 last time trying to get there, and you didn't get there. You can still go try to get to
Yeah,
that point to get to put another point on the map.
yeah. I think that Toru would probably like just try to start climbing this thing, and maybe he's like
Okay.
getting like told like not to waste time. I'm just like, but
Sure.
the Bractons, like it's all closed up. We won't know more
So
about it.
go ahead and we're going to say so I'm going to have you roll to try and climb there, and we'll say if you pass the roll, uh, you're gonna get an advantage on not like advantage, but you're gonna get an advantage on your next location.
Okay.
But you got to pass the roll to actually get up and get advantage. So what stat do you think he would use? Is he using focus and like really like looking and finding the handholds on these like pillars and like scoping out the whole thing? I don't think he is.
No.
As he force so this is just how the Lost Bay approach of what stat is Toru going to use to
Hmm.
get to the top of the mausoleum.
Yeah, I think this is like really a brute strength kind of thing. Like you do the
Yeah, I think it is
bars and
too.
then like All right, so
Like
it's
they're just going to go up. They won't even use their feet. They're just going to like hand only like climb up there.
Still kind of lost in that old young body, not this not this old body, the new old
Yeah.
body, right? The old
Yeah.
young. Anyway, I roll 3d6 for that because I have three
Yeah.
force. I have two sixes. That's a critical
Oh
success.
yeah, oh, that is a critical success. So that's going to get you extra doubly advantage on the next one. So
Okay.
so yeah, you get up there and you can actually see there. Oh man, there's the gazebo, there's that obelisk. You can guess, triangulate somewhere in the middle is where you started. Like all of these tall monuments that have been marking the points on the map. You can really see a lot of stuff. So what I will say is, so there are 3 points on the map that you haven't found:
Mm-hmm.
5, 6, and 8. Um, because of the critical success, I'm going to say you can put 2 of those on the map.
Okay. Wow.
I was going to give you, I was going to let you. So one of the things that we actually didn't cover earlier is you can spend a point of weird to pick the next place you go to. Could have been doing that all along.
Yeah.
Um, but so I was going to allow you to just put the next one on the map for free, but the critical success, you're going to put 2 on the map for free.
Okay.
So
Cool.
what do you want at the northernmost point?
I think the northernmost point would be um, probably the gate. That makes sense.
Yeah, have it at one end of the a map. Makes sense.
And I think that I could probably see the well, like it's not connected, but directly to the south of where I am now.
Yes, that sounds good. So we'll put 5 there. All right. That is perfect. Um, so you're up there and you're like, you shout down to Blaze and Clara, and you're like, "Oh, I can see everything up here." And you're like, "The gate that way." And you're like, like that's how we get out.
All
All right.
right.
He's scurry down.
Yeah, I think he'll like probably like get like halfway and then like just jump down and then maybe like the knees will buckle like and it kind of like falls a little bit harder than they wanted to, right? But
Yeah.
okay.
All right. So you're gonna head towards the gate.
Yeah.
All right. So you're like, you definitely know where you need to go. So you head that way. And when you get there, so the path eventually comes in, and there's multiple paths coming in. It's like clearly this is a central arterial towards the exit. And then you find a sort of a roundish sort of entry patio kind of a thing. And there's 2 tall iron gates closed. And in the center of this round patio is a statue of an angel.
Okay.
And that's what sort of, stone statue, angel wings, holding a big chain, it looks like.
Hmm.
And the gate there is closed.
All right. Is it like locked? Like is there
Yeah,
like something
actually,
around it?
there's a chain wrapped around the 2 middle bars, and there's a big old padlock on it that
Okay.
needs a key.
Be like, all right. If I know anything, should have taken that crowbar from Stan. Damn. Um, uh, I guess like taking a look at the angel, right? Because the angel also has a chain, so it's kind of like
It's like, it's not like it's like a stone. It's like part of the carved statue.
yeah.
Is like she's holding a big chain.
Mm-hmm. I still think like chain there, chain here. This place is
Mm-hmm.
strange.
Yeah.
Toru's kind of remembering like had contact with weird stuff before. I'm just gonna kind of take a closer look at this angel and what the chain is holding. Perhaps I don't know.
Yeah, it's like huge links. It's like it proportionally doesn't make sense. Like each link of this chain that the angel's holding is like, like that big. And so they're holding one in the hand, and then it drapes off to either side. So it's probably, the statue is probably 7, 8 feet tall. So the chain's probably, sorry, 10 feet of chain.
Mm.
But it's just part of the stone. Like, for looking at it, for all you can tell, it's just it was carved when the angel was carved.
Okay, is there like a plaque or anything on it or
No,
okay?
this is just an angel. There's a little podium and a little pedestal kind of a thing. So
Mm-hmm.
it is tall, and it's raised up, 3, 4 feet off the ground as well. But angel's just standing there looking up at the sky, chain in hands.
I'm gonna look where the angel's looking.
It's right at the moon.
Oh, that's strange. um,
Like I mean, you can't tell. The moon's sort of coming across. You can't tell if it's just by chance that that's what time you've happened to find it, but you're just looking right at the moon.
that is that is strange. um, and the face doesn't like mean anything to Toru. No.
It's pretty generic. Like,
Okay. I guess yeah. Let's then take a look at this fence. Is it like is it scalable, or is it just like the bars that are?
it's, I mean, it could be. There's bars and, like, they have like probably half decorative finials, like spikes at the top. It's not like it doesn't look like it looks clearly like a decorative metal gate. I mean, it's metal, so like you're not going to break the bars,
Yeah, yeah,
but it's not like meant to keep out. It's just meant to keep people from walking in. It's not like meant to prevent incursion, kind of a thing.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, the gates of like Helm's Deep or
Yeah,
whatever.
it's not like a gate of a
Yeah.
bunker. It's just like it's just a metal
Yeah, for
gate.
sure. To keep out meddlesome kids in the night.
Yeah.
And I think then is there like any kind of like what's the word for it? Like host's house, like a little like building, like a guardhouse or something near it, or anything like that.
Yeah. So there's like a gatehouse, but it
Gatehouse,
is definitely on the other side of the fence,
right?
and it's dark, and there's like you can see there's a door there, and it's in a window which is dark. That maybe it doesn't look like some place somebody lives. It looks like it might be like a reception kind of thing, maybe an office.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think then I'm gonna be like, well, I don't think we could all climb this, but I might try, and maybe the key's in the gatehouse.
Okay. So you're gonna try to climb the fence?
Yeah, I think so because uh, there's especially like if there's like a padlock on it. Um, the only other idea is like to go like break a tombstone and like come and like bash this thing, and doesn't really want to do that.
Yeah.
So
All
I think
right.
I'm gonna try scaling this. Kind of pumped up with
Yeah.
the success of the previous attempt as well.
Perfect. So you you're not gonna have to roll for this
Okay.
because you're not gonna make it over.
Okay.
Because you grab in, and again, you got a decent force. You start pulling yourself up. You hear screams from Blaze and Clara, and you hear a roar behind you,
Oh no.
and you glance over your shoulder as the angel takes that chain and just slams Clara in the shoulder, and Clara just like scattered on the ground. She's pulling herself back up, but like clearly just got crushed with that chain.
Yeah, yeah.
And so we're gonna initiate sort of a combat kind of a scene here.
Cool.
All right. So what we'll say is for that first round, Clara took a hit, so that will take her from 4 heart to 2, and Blaze also has 4 heart to start. And so I'll run Blaze and Clara, or would you want to run them? Do you want to run like the whole party? I'll just
uh,
run the angel.
yeah, that works. That works. And just kind of like, I think we can talk about it too. Just what do you think would make more
Sure.
sense for the
I'll
characters and
because
stuff
I'll
too?
just show you there because they do have some moves as well. They have the same stat block, the two of them.
Okay. Yeah, I figured
There
like
we
it,
go.
it might be good too to just kind of figure out what makes sense.
There you go. So you can see that's their stat block.
Okay.
And so yeah, so Clara took the first hit in that first round
Right.
as the angels stepped down off their pedestal, and with that huge chain, just
Crushed.
crushed. So
Okay.
now, so you do have that jacket with the +1 armor. You have not taken the time to find a weapon yet.
No, no, just been kind of like this is a cemetery. Didn't expect statues to come alive, kind of deal. Like, I guess
Yeah.
like
So
looking around, like there's probably, especially at the entrance, probably not a whole lot of things around to like grab. I think, yeah.
Let's roll something. Let's roll like sort of a luck thing.
I, th-
Or what do you want to say?
I think, yeah, I think like it seems like Toru maybe is like, oh yeah, that's right. This, like this, the bay, right? Like, right. Wait.
Bad stuff happens just like
He's
randomly.
thinking like we gotta get out of here. So I think like I'm
Okay.
just gonna like tell Blaze like just to run into the headstones, just
Okay.
like get out of here, and I'm just gonna go try to grab like Clara and like help Clara like
Sure.
screw off
Are you
too.
gonna get her back on her feet? I mean, she's not like I said. She took a hit, but she's not dead. So
Yeah,
you can help. You can grab her and get her on her feet. And it's not like you're going to be carrying her, but you can. And are you going to run in the same direction or different directions?
same. Yeah, I want to stick together, try to like
Okay.
form a plan with them.
So let's have you roll. So you're going to get away. Whether or not you take a hit as you run is going to be. So let me just have you roll. I guess it would be flow for you
Yeah.
because Claire was right there. So you're gonna run in, scoop her, and go blast out into the headstones. Um, and so go ahead and roll flow.
Got it.
And on a success, you're gonna get away, and on a failure, you're gonna take a hit.
Okay. Yeah. It's gonna be a nice 1d6 for that. A 3, so it's a failure.
That's failure. So you take a hit. So you take 2 damage
So
from the
I
chain.
have my
1 armor.
armor, and I'd like to use unfeeling. Right when I take
Absolutely.
damage.
So go ahead and roll a d6 and see if you can get rid of that other point.
My weird is at 5, so I feel like this is a pretty good chance, and it's the only time I roll a 6. We'll see.
You need a 1 through 4.
I got a 4.
You're safe. All right. So yeah. This chain right across the back. We'll say it's across your shoulders. So those metal spikes. Do you lose some metal spikes? So your armor is no longer armor, but you still have a sweet leather jacket.
Yeah.
And then the chain like sort of like tears you a bit, but like you're like whatever. Like I just got this body. I don't care about this body.
Yeah.
And you're still running. So yeah. So you lose no heart, but your armor's gone. And yeah, Clara's hobbling a little bit, and you guys jet into the headstones. So as you jet into the headstones, roll a d6.
Okay.
For where you pop out.
I rolled
let me just check. This is not plus memories. This is
okay.
just a d6.
I was going to say, so I rolled a 4. So
you somehow another half an hour passes as you wander. You are back at the fountain. You're like, how do we get here? So go ahead and roll a d6 for what happens. What is at the fountain when you get there?
Rolled a 1.
Okay. So you guys stagger out. You're out of breath. And you're like, you're like, all right, I know we've been here before. And as you're walking past the fountain, the tinkle of water stops. Just silent. And you look over, and it's not like somebody turned off the water. The water is frozen in space. And all of the cherubs are looking at you. So go ahead and make a horror save.
Yeah. All right. So that's
focus.
Focus. So that is again 2d6. A 3 and a 1. That's a failure.
All right. So -1. So you can't go more than 5 weird.
Right.
So it's just -1 heart.
I think I'm on 1 heart now.
Yes, you are.
Freaking
you got
out.
Plenty of force.
Yes, true. I think, yeah, just like seeing this, I guess like as well, just like thinking of like, we just got messed up by this angel pretty bad. And now I see these little like, these little cherub guys. I'm like, this ain't good. This ain't good. This ain't good.
But they're just frozen like that. And actually, as you move, they don't follow you.
Okay.
So it's like, and then you're trying to remember, like, maybe they were always looking in that direction. I don't remember what it looked like last time I was here. But like at the moment you noticed that the water had stopped and you looked, they were definitely all focused right on you.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it. You can continue moving if you'd like.
I think that I'm going to kind of like try to like take a break even though I'm feeling a bit unnerved by this cherub fountain, and talk with Clara and Blaze and be like, okay, so that's how we get out of here. I mean, that thing is guarding. Like we gotta take it out. We gotta do something. But I mean, like we don't have anything except for this. And I like hold like my jacket. I found this, like
So you
pointing
got a big
towards the
hole in one shoulder
graves.
now.
Yeah, I know it's all tore up, messed up. I found this in the graves. Unless you have a better idea of where we can find some stuff to take this thing on, I think we got to go grave robbing.
Yeah, I mean, they're like, yeah, sure. I mean, that's as good an idea as I have, Clara, but it doesn't matter. The bets are like, sure, like that was awful, and yeah, if we need to fight it to get out, like we haven't seen any other way out, so we're gonna have to go back there.
All right.
All right, so you're gonna head back. So you're at 4, so you're gonna head north back to the starting point. And you arrive at 1. And here, again, go ahead and roll a d6 for what you find when you get there.
2.
2. All right. So, similar to last time you came here, you see all the graves, and even the one that you had dug into is smoothed over again. So not like, not like completely smooth, but like somebody had refilled in the thing that you had dug up during your time away. But it's still, everything's there just the same way. So how about would you like to spend a half an hour where all 3 of you are digging and you're going to acquire 3 items?
Yeah, I think that's a good plan.
Perfect. And just for your time check, you've got 2 hours, 4 time slots left on the night.
Oh boy.
It's getting a little closer, but things are you're actually doing pretty well. You could regain 1 more memory depending on, so if you went to a new place, you'd be likely to gain a memory. So you have 5 or the one at the bottom, which is the new one. There's the one you haven't found yet, which we can just fill in as 6, the Weeping Willow. It doesn't really matter because, I mean, you didn't find it, but we know it's going to be there.
Yeah. I guess like as well, like if I'm trying to find it, I could always roll the bad number.
That's true. You do have to find it, but it will be 6 when you find it.
Right.
And yeah, it's going to be harder and harder to find a new place as more of the map gets filled in. I guess. So you've got 4 boxes left to check for the timer. But yeah, if depending on what you find here, and what I'll say is, because you know what you need, right? You want a weapon, and so you could go in at random and roll a d66, and there are weapons on this list of items. I will let you spend a weird to guarantee you dig into a grave with a weapon.
Yeah, I'll definitely take that. Reasonable? I'll take that.
You just sort of like stand there, like looking around, just like sensing the vibes of the place, and you're like, this is going to have something that I need.
Yeah.
All right, so you dig in. I'm still going to have you, let's see, how many weapons are on this list? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8. So we'll drop a couple of those. So yeah, go ahead and roll a d6.
Okay. 2.
All right. 1, 2. You find a hunting knife, but it's actually a 2 damage hunting knife.
Okay, it's like a this is a knife. It's a big kind of knife.
Yeah, that's right. That's not a knife. That's a knife. So yeah, so maybe I should just call it that. That's a knife.
Yeah.
2 damage.
this is a knife.
So 2 damage weapon, and we will. So then go ahead and roll a d66 twice for what Clara and Blaze find. Okay. And now as NPCs, they do 1 harm, so they don't need a weapon. So that's sort of a Lost Bay thing. Enemies, NPCs just have a harm. They don't need an item to do it.
Okay. So that is a 35 and a 66.
Of course, you get all the weapons.
Oh, all wow.
Right, so, the 35 is a wire clay cutter, which could be used as a garrote if necessary. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
To take off a block of clay. And then 66 is a revolver with 1d3 shots, cursed 1d6 damage. So go ahead and roll a d6 or a d3, but a d6, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 1 to 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 for the number of bullets you have in your revolver.
I rolled a 4, so that'd be 2.
2 shots. So yeah, so this looks like you pull this guy up and he's got like a cowboy belt on this body. Like clearly this guy was an enthusiast. And when they buried him, they're like, he's going to want to be buried with his like old school, like Colt revolver.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, it's a little rusty. It's very dirty. You're like, I don't know how much I trust this thing, but hey, it's a gun.
Mm-hmm.
So you take it. So you now have a 1, a 2, and a d6 item to do damage. So like I said, there's a bunch of other stuff. Some of there's some more armor in there on that list. There were some just flavor items, but you just happened to roll half the weapons in that round. So
Luck is on my side.
Clara comes up with like the garage. She's like, I think we're ready now.
Like, all right. I think, yeah, then I don't know. I also kind of get like what is it? Kill Bill kind of vibes with like the white dress and the revolver. So I think that'd be cool if Blaze has the revolver.
Sure, you did give Blaze a revolver, and you're going to keep the
knife.
This is a knife.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
All right. So that's that. And I had already given you that half an hour. So we got 4 boxes left. So it's going to be a half an hour. It's going to take you an hour to get back to the gate if you go straight there.
Yeah, I think that we kind of have to. We were running low on time.
Yeah. Right. So the moon's getting real low. It's coming down. And again, you don't know why, but you definitely have a feeling that when the moon is gone, like your time's up on whatever this was. So are you going to go via the gazebo or via the mausoleum?
Yeah, the mausoleum, the gazebo, no thank you. I learned my lesson.
So you head towards the excuse me. You head towards the mausoleum and go ahead and roll for a d6 for what you find when you get there.
3.
All right. So you're rolling all the low ones on these return visits. This is good for you. So you get to the mausoleum and you see it, and there's something's weird about it this time. The doors are still closed, and it doesn't, like, Clara and Blaze just keep walking. They don't notice, but you feel weird, and then you hear a scream just far away, like off in the graveyard. And then you get like the weirdness passes, and it's just like everything's quiet again. Just a scream.
Yeah. It's like, just keep walking, just keep going. Like, I think like probably talking plan with Blaze and Clara, being like, okay, so like, I think we should like try to like set up some sort of distraction, right? We want to be able to like get it, and I think we need to like take its head off, like pointing at Clara, like, right? Like that's the way it works for like vampires. So why not vampire angels?
Sure.
I understand what's going on, but
absolutely. All right.
So like maybe we do like a shot, and then I come out like from like behind something and try to like gut it, and so it's focused on me, and then Clara could jump on its back and try to.
Sure.
Yeah, he's just like probably like the most like frontal dumb like kind of plan. But
Blaze is like got the gun. She's like, I guess I've never used one of these before, but like, sure, I can try. I mean, it's pretty big. Like, I should probably be able to shoot it. All right. So you check off another half an hour, and you approach the gate, and you get back, and the angel is back where it was, still looking at the moon. And the gate's there, and the lock's on the gate.
So now I'm wondering if we just shoot a statue, if nothing's going to happen, if we need to touch this gate first. Like, I think we could still stick with the plan. Then maybe this time we can get Blaze in somewhere a bit like safer, like on the outskirts where she can fire. And sure. Toru is going to be the one to be like, all right, I'm going to touch the gate.
Okay.
Because he wants to, always, Toru always wants to help like, their friends get out, right?
Yes,
So like
absolutely.
I think that's the focus. It really is the
Yeah,
focus
they
is
are the
helping others.
protector.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. So yeah. So Toru. So we'll say Clara is standing behind. Oh no. Yeah, Clara's standing behind. She's got the garrote, and then Blaze is sort of like closer to you, but off to the side. So not directly between you and the angel, but so that the idea is you can quickly step between the two of them.
Yeah.
And guns up, a little shaky, but up. And then you're there, knife, head swings around to you,
All right.
steps off the podium, and we will now enter combat since you know it's coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, so because you guys knew it was coming and you're also away, you can take the first round of actions. So what's the order of events here?
I think the first would be the shot. So, and then
Okay.
like the idea would, yeah, well, we'll see what happens. But
So because it's the NPC, it hits, but go ahead and roll a d6 for damage.
come on, D6, help me out here. Come on, it's gonna be a 1. I know it's gonna be a 1.
You don't want it to
It's
be
a
a 6
2.
either.
It's a 2, not a
All right, so
1.
that's Blaze never shot a gun before.
Yeah.
Um, it knocks some rock off and chink some stone falls on the ground, and the angel like doesn't like stagger or like show sign of pain, but it like looks towards Blaze as that happens. And now is going to be you.
Yeah, and so I think I'm gonna like basically like rush forward, like kind of like bum rush
Sure.
the
Yeah. I
angels.
mean, it's Toru. Of course you are.
That's a sentence I've never said before. I'm gonna bum rush the angel. Here we go.
Yes, you are. So go ahead and roll force. I'm assuming you're going to use force for this attack because it's Toru. So go ahead and roll. Come on.
Oh my god! 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, so that's not going to get the job done. So you rush out, and you don't know if it's because it's made of rock and you're using a knife, or that you just didn't hit it right or hit it hard enough, but it doesn't seem to have any effect at all. Now you want Clara to try with the old choker from behind, or Clara could also just use her base 1 damage because it does the same thing. But for flavor, do you want her to try to use the garrote, or do you want her to just kick it in the back or something?
I think that like the plan was that I'm supposed to like be distracting it, but it doesn't seem to care. So I feel like we've kind of gone off plan a little bit. So I think that maybe she perhaps do a little screech, get close. Although that's going to stun me too, isn't it? Because I'm close.
All close, yeah. So the move is screech. It stuns all close, and uh, she knows what she's doing. She could get on the other side of the angel, and the angel's big. We already established that where you could be not. So in my mind, close is like touching distance, right?
Okay.
So I will say that like she could make sure she's touching distance to the angel, but you're very much on the other side. So yeah, so she's going to use her screech move, and that will stun the angel. So you all are going to get to go again. The angel just like sort of winces a little bit from the sound. It's just like this tearing sound in its stone head, and so yeah, that's the end of the first round, and it doesn't get to do anything. So go ahead again.
All right, I'm gonna use a different die this time. I'm gonna use one of these guys. Here we go.
So you're gonna use your last bullet.
Use the last bullet.
Yep.
Blaze of glory, maybe. A 4.
All right, and just for people not familiar with these weapons in the Lost Bay, had it been a 6, it would have exploded, and it would essentially, in my mind, that would be 3 damage to the angel and 3 damage to the person holding the gun. So 4 is actually pretty good. So that's going to be 4 more damage to the angel, and that's a big chunk off of the angel's HP. So that is actually a lot. The angel's heart, excuse me. So go ahead and Toru or you can do something, or Clara can do something.
Yeah, I think that like I'm gonna go for that same like hole that just got like blown off by the revolver. So I'm just kind of like seeing like a weak point and just kind of like maybe like
Sure,
just jumping on it and like trying to go for like a psycho like
absolutely. Nice. Yeah, absolutely. So go ahead and roll.
I got a five,
Yeah,
four,
okay.
three. Yeah.
So yeah, so 5 does damage. That's a success. So you're going to go ahead and do your 2 damage, and it is very hurt. It is looking real bad. Um, and like it's still stone, but it's like crumbling. Like parts of it that you haven't touched are starting to look weathered and crumble away, and the face looks like the definition is being lost. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
definitely losing something.
I think that like maybe like where I got shot was like in the shoulder and like cracking at it with like the big Bowie knife is like kind of like cracked it like along the neck and that's like
Yeah, you're like prying at it a little bit,
yeah
and it's just like the crack splinters are like spreading across it. I like
and
that.
then like it's like okay it's Garrett time let's go like
Yeah, all right. So you're gonna have Clara jump for it,
yeah
and yeah, that will that the damage from that will get around the thing's throat, and the rock just like it like crumbles and shatters, and the head falls off on the ground. And as it hits the ground, and just like tears of blood just start
oh no
leaking from the angel's eyes. Um, and that's it. It's just the body sort of like leans, and it seems like it's not just going to like disintegrate. It's like it's returned to just being a statue, and
mm,
it sort of leans forward and stops, doesn't fall, just there as the head lies on the ground.
all right kind of like take a moment like just catch the breath be like it worked and then like looking at the tears be like I don't know if we did the right thing oh no let's let's get out of here and then you know, go for it try to climb the gate
and and you'll be able to climb the gate at
yeah
this point. And so yeah, you guys get up the gate and get out, and that's it. You have escaped the domain of the angel. Your body still doesn't feel quite right, but you think you're getting used to it, especially as you got back those memories. Like you're like, yeah, this is not me, but I can live like this for a little while. Um, and so now you'll have options. Go back, try to find Toru's old life. Maybe you just, I mean, Toru ended up dead, so like maybe you just want to start a new life.
I have two
Uh,
new friends as well
you do. You have 2 new friends who are in the same situation as you are,
yeah
of not knowing how they ended up here, uh, or really what they should do next.
yeah
But you take off into the streets of the Bay, leaving Rose Hill Cemetery behind.
all right
And that is the end of the module.
wow that's cool that's a great jumping off point too for like continuing like solo games and
Yeah,
stuff
like
right
the idea is like you're playing a game and you died. It's like it's not the end. Just start over, and
yeah
not just starting over. Like, oh, we're start over. You get a little bit back. You get some stuff. You get out. Maybe you don't. So yeah, so you were almost out of time. At which point you would have collapsed, and the gravedigger, who you did not meet, would have dragged you back and put you back in the ground. Um, but yeah, I mean, you had some. Your return to location rolls were all very low. You were rolling low in general, but those rolls were good to be low,
yeah
because the higher rolls would have been more fights essentially. Like
yeah
you only fought the angel. There were, I mean, what do I have? I've got 8 different enemies you
yeah
could have found, and you didn't find any of them. You're just like,
just good old
or
Stan you know good old
just
Stan and
yeah. If you had gone back to the obelisk, depending on which one. Oh yeah, if you had gone back to the obelisk on a 4 or 5, stands in the sarcophagus.
oh
You just
no
hear like pounding from the inside.
oh oh no
That would have been fun, but no, Stan just like couldn't get into the thing, and he took off, and who knows what happened to Stan.
hmm
All right, well that is that uh, Thanks for playing.
Oh, thanks for running the game. That was awesome. It was really cool too to imagine like the different parts of Rose Hill.
Oh
Just
yeah,
like
because you got an actual Rose Hill, which
it's kind
is
of like,
incredible.
yeah, it's cool to kind of mix it with other. I mean, I was a weird kid growing up. I hung out in a lot of cemeteries. Okay, so like, there's some in like abandoned in some places too. Just kind of
Yeah, I mean,
mixing those
some
ideas.
like especially the obelisk in particular is from a cemetery that I spent a lot of time in when I was a kid.
Yeah, see, yeah, it's just
There was this one, I don't know, I think the guy was like a dentist or something, and it was like it was like I don't know how tall something was, 20, 30 feet tall obelisk on like this like slate like patio thing with like urns at the corners and like a big sarcophagus out front. I was like, I don't know who this guy was, but like clearly that's impressive.
yeah. He
It's like
invented
that.
Funyuns.
I don't think he did, but maybe he did. He did now. That's definitely in my
Yeah.
head. Um, all right, cool. So that's it for this play. Thank you, Chris, for playing, and thank you for watching. This has been a playthrough of A Night on Rose Hill for the Lost Bay RPG, and that's it.
All right. Bye bye.